Today we're talking about CCM8, Unit 1, Lesson 5, Estimating Square and Cube Roots. Estimating is to approximate prior to calculating your answer. Rounding is replacing an answer by another number close to the same value but having fewer digits. A lot of students mix those two up. Estimating is what you do first, rounding is what you do at the end. Vic number 1, sometimes it's easiest to make a table of perfect squares or cubes to aid in your estimating, which is what we did up here. I went ahead and made a table. I think you have a table on your paper. Go ahead and fill it in with all of this information. Most of you should have this memorized by now. When we estimate a square root, what we're doing is we're going to locate the perfect square that is in our chart, and we're going to locate where this square root would fall. So the square root of 28 falls in between 25 and 36. So the square root of 28 would be 5 or 6. So let me go back. If I was to take the square root of 25, I would get 5. If I were to take the square root of 36, I would get 6. I'm asked to take the square root of 28. So my answer is going to fall between 5 and 6. So I just shorten the word between 5 and 6. That's my solution. I'm asked to estimate the square root of 170. Well, the square root of 169 is 13, the square root of 196 is 14. 170 is in between those two answers, so it's between 13 and 14. Make sense? Why don't you try this one here? Pause the video and try to work this one out on your own. Did you get between 7 and 8? Awesome. Number 4 is very similar to number 3, except for it has a negative sign out front. The only difference here was that negative, so the only difference in our answer is going to be a negative. So this is going to be between -7 and -8. All right, and the last one. I've got a decimal here, the square root of 18.5. I treat this just like I would a whole number. The square root of 18.5 would be in between the square root of 16 and the square root of 25. So this answer is between 4 and 5. And we're done. This next part is going to take a calculator, so if you have a calculator handy, now would be the time to use it. We're going to simplify by taking the square root, and we're going to round our answers to the nearest hundredth. Again, all we're doing is we're typing it into our calculator, the square root of 28, and that's just 5.29. Rounded to the nearest hundredth, that's the hundredths place. Why don't you try the rest of these, just typing them into your calculator. That's it. Did you get this as your answer? I hope so. You can actually go back to the previous slide and check your answers. We said that the square root of 18.5, when we estimated, was going to be somewhere between 4 and 5. And guess what? It is. It's 4.30, in between 4 and 5. So that's the difference between estimating at the beginning and guessing, making an educated guess of where your square root will fall between. And here, rounding, actually picking up your calculator, typing it in, and rounding to the nearest hundredth. Let's try a couple more for cube roots. Again, we're going to make a table of cubes and cube roots to help us disseminate between, to figure out where these answers are going to fall between. So we're going to take the cube root of 30, and the cube root of 8 is 2, the cube root of 27 is 3, the cube root of 64 is 4. So 30 would fall between 27 and 64. So my cube root of 30 is going to be between 3 and 4. And then you can pick up your calculator, type in finding the cube root of 30. You might have to hit math or second and some button on your calculator to get to the cube root, but try it out and see what you get. Did you get 3.11? Hope so. Try this one out. Estimate first, then pick up your calculator and round to the nearest hundredth. Did you get this? Awesome.